Hello, my name is John Shoup. I'm an auto repair shop owner, and I support Dr. Ron Paul for president. And I'd like to talk to you today about health care. Now, I'm not a doctor, unlike Dr. Paul, and sometimes it's hard for me to get my mind around this health care stuff. So I want to talk to you about health care in a form that I can understand, so hopefully you can understand. So I want to talk about brake jobs. Have you ever gotten your car fixed? It can be a very emotional experience. You don't feel like you got a choice. I mean, cars have gotten so complicated these days. You don't really understand what's going on, and you don't really feel like you've got a choice. You go to the repair shop, you kind of feel like they got you over a barrel. Well, here's your chance to influence the high cost of car repair, because I'm looking for your advice on the pricing of brake jobs. Until now, like other repair shops, I've been charging $79.95 for basic brakes. I give a lifetime warranty on the work, and I've got to find the best products and the cheapest prices and put them all together in a package so that you can understand it, you can make your purchase, and it will solve your problem each and every time I do the job. If I don't fix your problem, I can't charge you for the job, or I got to give you your money back. Well, I'm sick of it. I'm not going to do that anymore. I've got an idea. Starting now, when you come in for brakes, I'm still going to charge you $79.95, but that'll be a facilities charge. Now, the service writer who prepared your estimate and wrote the final bill, he's going to charge you for something. He's going to charge you separately for something we're going to call probably mechanical billing. Okay. Now, the mechanic, of course, he's got to be paid, so he's going to send you a bill separately for his services, and the brake fluid and the pads and the hardware and all the stuff that we use in the process. You're not going to pay $10 or $20 like you could at the auto parts store. We're going to charge it out to your account at several hundred times its actual value. Final bill, $795.45. Now, of course, if you got one of those mechanical insurance policies, you know, when you bought the car, we'll cut the bill in half for the insurance company, so they'll only have to pay 5 times its actual value rather than the 10 times that I would charge you. Now, you can't get this deal. That's only for the insurance companies, because if you're going to pay cash, you're going to get charged the full 10 times its actual value. Now, I suppose that I should be concerned that forcing people to pay the full boatload if they don't have insurance policies is going to force more of you into buying these mechanical insurance policies. But I guess that's something I'm going to have to deal with, because I don't like dealing with insurance companies any more than you do. But I get to charge 5 times over what it's worth, so why wouldn't I do that? Now, if this sounds like a really bad idea, if this sounds like a methodology that will surely put me out of business, I want you to consider the medical industry. The procedure I've just described is precisely how it's done if you find yourself at a hospital. Why can't I charge that way for brake jobs? I can't charge that way for brake jobs because my competition would eat me alive. How does the medical industry get away with it? Well, I'll tell you how they get away with it. They're not exposed to competition. You see, this is the problem with third-party payment systems. And I'm not just talking about government. I'm talking about insurance companies, too. When someone else pays your bill, the customer isn't concerned about the costs. If you had mechanical breakdown insurance and you picked your car up from my shop, and I charged you $500 for a $100 item, you wouldn't care. Somebody else is paying the bill. Like as not, when you picked up the car, you may not even be aware of what the final bill is. This happens at hospitals too. Without you, the customer, looking at my bill in horror, my prices are just going to keep going up and up and up. And if the effects of the third-party payment system aren't bad enough, let's add an extra layer of protection to my prices. Let's say that you had a job where you drove a lot in your work. And your boss, as part of your employment package, was paying for your mechanical breakdown insurance. When the rates start going up, you don't notice. No, you don't notice until he comes to you one day and says, hey, you're going to have to start paying some of this because it's gotten really, really expensive. When you find out that your share of the contribution to the mechanical breakdown insurance is 1/3 of your take-home pay, you have a mechanical breakdown. And after a while, you get it into your head that mechanical service is just expensive, and there's nothing you can do about it. That is, of course, until some politician starts talking about how mechanical breakdown services are right, and bemoaning how many millions of people don't have mechanical breakdown insurance. And then if you'll just vote for them, they'll give you government-mandated car repair. Those of us in the car repair industry, we're not really worried about this, of course, because we've got a pretty powerful lobby in Washington, and those costs won't go away. The government will just add a layer of bureaucracy and cost to the system. Taxes might go up a little bit, but don't worry. The quality won't suffer. Now, we may have to restrict access to some of the more expensive repair procedures, but don't worry. Look how the government takes care of our bridges. No, ladies and gentlemen, we need competition in the medical industry. Consider what has happened to LASIK eye surgery. Now, LASIK was first commercially available in the United States in 1987, even though it was developed back in the 1930s. In 1987, LASIK eye surgery cost $10,000 per eye. Now, the procedure is entirely elective, which means it's not covered by Medicare, Medicaid, or your health insurance, and customers are forced to pay for it themselves. Additionally, doctors who perform LASIK surgery are forced to compete in the marketplace for customers. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, today, 2008, there's one LASIK doctor advertising his services on television for $299 an eye. The quality's improved tenfold. They don't use blades anymore, they use lasers. And this represents a price drop of 97% in an economy where other prices have gone up 300%. If you don't believe me, in 1987, gasoline here in Kansas City cost 89 cents a gallon. Today it's $3. Another example, plastic surgery. Breast augmentation surgery is elective and it's not covered by insurance. The national average is $5,000, does both breasts. Breast reconstruction surgery, after a mastectomy is done, which is a very similar operation, costs $30,000 for each breast. That's because it's covered by insurance, where the plastic surgery is not. For this reason, well, these two similar operations only differ really. One is done usually in the doctor's office, the other is done in a hospital, and one is subject to competition and the other's not. Now, for this reason, I'd like to ask you to support Dr. Ron Paul for president. Dr. Paul believes in free markets. Dr. Paul knows the healthcare system from the inside out because he's a doctor. He'll keep us out of socialized medicine. Dr. Paul has actually coined the term the medical industrial complex. And just like the evil military industrial complex that President Eisenhower warned us of so many years ago, large medical associations, HMOs, hospital associations, insurance companies, and drug companies all work together in Washington to get legislation passed that keeps their profits high and keeps us paying through the nose. Now, I know many of the Republican field have mouthed platitudes that seem to support free markets. But Dr. Paul is the only candidate whose voting record entirely supports what he says. During the New Hampshire debates this past January, the moderator pointed to each candidate and asked them about past policy positions that they'd flip-flopped on. When he got to Dr. Paul, he couldn't name any. The worst he could do is say, you changed political parties. Remember when we heard about a humble foreign policy? Remember when we heard about no nation building? Oh, and I love this one. How about read my lips? Seems like some candidates will say anything to get elected. Dr. Ron Paul is the only candidate who can be trusted to say what he will do and do what he says. He's proven that in Congress for 10 years. For 10 terms, for 20 years. The lobbyists and special interest groups don't even bother to go to his office in Capitol Hill because they know Dr. Paul cannot be bought. For years, we've had calls for honesty and transparency in government. Well, here's your chance. Vote for change in Washington. Vote for Dr. Ron Paul for president. Thank you.
Yeah.